Mm, I don't know. Hmm. No, not quite there. Not the right mood. I got another idea. Just maybe. Hmm. Still no. Wait a minute. I think I got it. I think I got it. Stay with me. Redemption songs. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. Turns out that wasn't as good of an idea as I thought it was. So tell me, how you think that genre could exist is beyond me to who came up with that, but it does exist, and thanks this week we'll have an artist, as far as I know, the only artist of this genre, Skindred, with Kill the Power. So, the thing about Skindred is that they really did create this genre. Like, it wasn't a thing, but you can't say that it isn't now, because well, listen to Skindred, you'll understand. This album was actually a really tough one for them to make because they just always try to bend the genres and do something new each time, and they try a really different thing on this album that doesn't exactly work, but I think it definitely lets them free up their inhibitions to do different things. I don't know. They burst onto the scene in 2002 with their debut record, and I guess some would argue it came out a little earlier than that, but in the history of Skindred, as I say, they're actually an older band than most people even realize, because they actually came out of Newport, South Wales in 1998. So all that argument, it's like, oh, no, they've actually been around for a long time, but they didn't ever make an album until 2002. They're a British alternative band formed in South Wales. Yeah, it's like, you would not expect that with that guy's Jamaican accent and their reggae metal that they pull out, but they're definitely a band that's straight out of Wales. And he makes that accent specifically for this band. He doesn't actually sing or talk like that. They mix alternative styles like metal, alternative rock, reggae, punk, jungle, hardcore, hip-hop, drum, bass, and dubstep. I mean, they really push the boundaries of what we thought was possible with music in one genre. And it's funny because the other artist I'm reviewing today, Beck, also is known to do that, so I guess I'm doing a genre-bending album review. Yeah, it's just interesting. They actually were first formed as Dub War, formed in Newport in 1993, and they signed on to Iraq record, Iraq. But according to the vocalist Benji Webb, they wouldn't let us record and they wouldn't give us money to live on, so they made it intentionally till we had no other option than to separate. So Dub War disbanded in 1998, and they went on to form Skindred, with Webb on lead vocals and bassist Daniel Pugsley, guitarist Mickey Demus, and drummer Ara Goggin. After Webb was unable to put together a new record featuring other members of Dub War, in 2002, Skindred released its debut album, Babylon, to RCA Records, my personal favorite. It was eventually re-released in 2004, as people have the argument of when they started. And as I think, they sound like Korn and Bob Marley mixed together, as you noticed by my little free-form intro there, that made no sense, but that's okay. So that's some history on Skindred. But this album, it's tough, because they really had trouble with the writing of this album. It's one of those things that they put a lot of time and effort into writing, and it was tough for them. Look at the opener, Kill the Power. It's got the signature sound for sure. It's a driving beat with a huge metal riff, and it's definitely got that Skindred sound when you think about it. It's got that reggae metal. They blast the bass, they pound the drums, and the riffs come out of nowhere, fast and heavy. The singer does this Jamaican reggae, fast and styled. He also has his signature scream like Korn and Bob Marley had a baby, and then Metallica and Sublime had a baby, and then those babies hooked up, as famously stated in Pineapple Express. Babies. having other babies, and that would we get that. It's also one of the best songs on the album because of the fact that it's just classic Skindred. On this album, the best ones are actually the ones where they don't push themselves too far because they take it out of the comfort zone and it just doesn't work. I mean, I'm glad they tried because this is the kind of band that you need them to experiment. You need them to go and try things that are different. It just doesn't always work. Ruling Force, they continue on their genre-defined course here by adding in some UK garage rock into their regular rock formula. It's sort of like what Skindred does best. They add some new things into an already established flair, and it's a huge highlight here. I like the sound of it, actually. Playing with the Devil, they actually tone down the metal here and kick up the reggae. You know, I like to think that this whole album is based on two scales. You got your reggae knob over here, and you got your metal knob over here. And they're always like halfway on the scale of volume, and then this one's at like a 7, and this one's at a 3. The best ones are personally where they're both at equal distance from each other. Like, both out of 10, they both be on a 5. 50% reggae, 50% metal, and that's when they have the best songs on here, in my opinion. However, it's things like Babylon. There's a lot more metal than it is reggae, and that's one of my personal favorites, so, you know, it is what it is. Ruling with the Devil, they tone it down. It's actually, like, a dubstep sounds are used a lot in this, but it's definitely different, but it works. They made the thing with this, though, that they only had it sample for 30 seconds, avoiding the mistake that both Muse and Korn fell into, which is don't let it take over so much of your song or your album. It's just not a desired thing. If you're an artist of a different style, stick to your style. Dubstep doesn't work for that. It just doesn't. I don't know. The lyrics are stronger on this song than some of the others, as you'll notice. They do have some trouble with lyricism on this album than the past. In the past, they've had some better wittiness. World's on Fire is another one of the heavier songs on here, and again, for it, it's one of the best. They do their best work when they're pushing the envelope on metal and reggae at the same time. Here's a great example. Then we get to Ninja. Oh my god, Ninja. It's like the song that just makes me lose my shit. It's the song that you want to hear in a pit. It just is. It's straight out of a mosh pit. That's what it's for. The lead single, hands down the best song on here, and it's a well-written metal song, a well-written reggae song. It's just an instant classic. The Kids Are Alright Now is another strange genre flip. It's got elements of ska almost, and ska punk thrown in, but it's funny because it's hugely different because he tones down the Jamaican accent. Like if Korn's lead singer were to take over singing for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I honestly thought it sounded sort of like a Foo Fighters song. The Kids Are Alright Now. It works, but it's nothing special. The next song, We Live, is the song reminded me actually of a heavier Switchfoot song. It doesn't sound like Skindred, but it's not bad. I don't mind the genre mixing, and they're really good at it. And this one works for them. It's, you know, sort of pop-punkish, and it's not their forte, but this song doesn't annoy me. It does annoy me later on the album, but we'll get to that. It's not a bad song, just doesn't add anything. Open Eyed is actually a song that features guest vocalist Jenna G. It doesn't have that normal Skindred bells and whistles. They tone it down into a more simple format. It's more of a traditional rock song, but it has an amazing duet between Jenna and Ben Webb, and the chorus is great for that. And I think it's destined to hear radio airplay, and I think it would be great for them because they need it. You know, they've got a cult following, but being mainstreamed would not be a bad thing for a little bit. I know hipsters, I know metal purists, the radio is evil, but sometimes it can help people hear the artists, so, you know, it'd be good for them. Dollars and Dimes is a lighter Chapter 2 to Ruling Force, and it isn't as fun as Ruling Force is because it's just too light to get into, but it's still fun. It isn't as fun, but it's still fun. It just doesn't have the heat, that force of the metal that brings the song to be interesting, and it's just too slow. It doesn't pack the same heat. And then we get to the one song on this album that's just a major flop. Saturday. It's the only song I truly don't like. It's so pop-punk it could pass as a heavier new direction for Fall Out Boy. Not a good sign, guys. It's just so pop-punk it hurts, and we'll end with that. Proceed with Caution is quick to kill the bad taste in your mouth that Saturday leaves, though, because it brings in this power metal sound with the good old reggae vocals we love so much. It's this heavy blasting song, and it's a highlight. The last song, More Fire, comes out of nowhere, and it just takes us, you know, the Bob Marley ending with the giant blunt and the light up in the sunset kind of thing. That's how they decided to end it. Instead of just blasting it off, we're going to just float to the end. A very ending favoring of a reggae thing. This album itself was a crazy thing because it has influences from reggae to metal to ska, pop-punk, hip-hop, not hip, Tupac, even dubstep things thrown in there. It's truly genre-defying with band that's made for the live show environment. So with those who are open-minded, you'll find that this is a great album to listen to, but if you don't, if you're, you know, a metal purist or someone who's just not into that kind of thing, it's going to be tough. But open your mind, man. It's got some good stuff. Alright, so the highlights: kill the power ruling force, ninja, obviously. I even say open-eyed, even though it's a more traditional rock. And then lastly, proceed with caution. So thanks for listening. I'm giving this one 4 stars out of 5. Some missteps, but overall it's a great listen. Alright, I'll be back.